Hi, Kate with Kate's Paper Creations, here to share another how-to card video using the Ornate Orchard stamp set, and I incorporated a little piece from this April paper pumpkin as well. And we're going to be using the Stamparatus. So let's get to it and I'll show you what we've got for you today. Okay, so let me show you how I made this card today. And it uses a combination of the ornate style stamp set, and I'm using this little flower design right there, and I'm using from the April paper pumpkin kit this cute little leaf right here. And for the sentiment today, which will be hugs, prayers, and love, it's this sentiment right here, and it's from the Positive Thoughts stamp set. I'm using Pretty Peacock, Mint Macaron, and Pear Pizzazz for my colors. I'm also using the embossing folder from the Ornate Garden Suite that's been available, is available till the end of the month at a special price. And so this is the Ornate Floral Embossing folder that I will be using as well. Now when you're using this folder with your Big Shot, all you have to use is the base plate, nothing else but the base plate, the folder with the paper in it, and this in the top. That's the sandwich that you're going to use when you use that particular embossing folder. And it will create a beautiful design, which we'll share with you. Okay, so we're going to start with just the base card. Let's set this aside. And the base card is 5.5 by 4 1/4, scored at 4.5. And we'll just fold it and burnish it. And that creates our A2 base card. Then the first layer that's going to go on there is the Pretty Peacock layer. And it will be 4 by 5 1/4. So it will leave an 1/8 inch border all the way around. And when I put my pieces on my card, I turn it so that this is the fold. So this is the open side and the fold side. I turn it towards me like that, and then I line it up like this, because if I get the spine and the top and the bottom square, then the rest just falls into place. It makes placing something squarely on the paper much easier. Then I took a piece of regular Whisper White cardstock, and I cut it to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, so that it will leave a 1/16 of an inch border all around. And as you can see, I embossed it with that beautiful embossing folder that I showed you earlier. And we're also going to attach that with a snail just to the front of the card. And again, I'll turn it on its side. And this time we're going for that 1/16 of an inch border, so it's much narrower. That looks good. And there's that. So that's the base card, and we're going to set that aside, because now I'm going to bring in the Stamparatus, and that's what we're going to use today to make the designs that we're making, to make this lovely wreath pattern that we have here. And to use the Stamparatus to create the floral design, I guess that's called a wreath design or a circular design of some kind, you need templates. And you can make the template for various different sizes of squares that you're going to put your design on. So I laminated regular Whisper White cardstock, and then I cut on my Silhouette Cameo templates for a 3 by 3 inch circle, a 3.5 inch square, and a 4 by 4 square. And we're going to use the 3 by 5. These hold up. They're in my Stamparatus drawer, and they are what we will be using. And I can use them over and over again. So I'm going to tuck it up tight in the corner, and then the magnets, which I have put some washi tape on so that they're easier to pick up and move. we'll hold that in place. And because this is for a 3.5 inch square, I have cut another regular Whisper White piece for 3.5 inches square. Now when you're using the Stamparatus, you always, I'm going to hold those down with the magnets just a little bit. When you're using the Stamparatus with red rubber stamps, you do not need the foam piece. So we'll take that out for now because this little flower stamp has red rubber, so it's already got its cushion. So I'm going to put that plate in, and I've already set it up, but let's do it from the beginning. So I have decided to put my flower on here. Now when you're putting your first image on this piece, you want to always have your piece square, not at a diamond shape, because if you set it on the diamond, you're going to be too far out. So you need to start with it being here at the square end. So I'm going to press that down and it picks it up, and now I'm ready to ink. Now I'm going to ink this with Mint Macaron, and then I'm going to give it some accent with the Pretty Peacock using a dauber. And let me get this so you can see what I'm doing here a little bit. It's a little bit tricky, I got it so close. But anyway, so I saved my Stampin' Spots from all of my paper pumpkin kits, and I have quite a collection because these are so easy to use when I'm stamping small images on this Stamparatus. Rather than try to take a great big stamp pad and stamp that little tiny image, it gives me more control. Stampin' Up does sell blanks of these Stampin' Spots that you can ink with your re-inkers, so you can create your own. But I just have a bunch saved. So I'm going to ink it with that. Then I'm going to take the dauber, and I'm just daubing a little extra on there to give it some variation of color. And we'll press into place. And there's flower number 1. And then you just turn it, a quarter of a turn, and we'll hold it down again and ink it. I hope you're seeing all of this. Yeah, I think you are. And a little bit on the edge, and then we'll press it, and just press right on where your stamp is at. That's all you have to do. And I'm not gonna do the whole thing here. I'm gonna just do a few of them so you can see what it's like, because I don't know how to fast forward. So, when it gets done, I don't know how to do that. So I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I will do about 3 of them here so you can kind of see what it ends up looking like. Now I'm going to take my plate, I'm going to clean that stamp up, and I'm going to take and remove my plate. You got to hold it straight up and down, and I'm going to turn it around, and now I am going to use that little leaf stamp, and because it is a photopolymer stamp, we will need this foam pad. So I'll take that and I put this back in, and I'll put my magnets back on, and I'll put my piece back in where I started, like this. And now I'm going to take this little photopolymer stamp right here, and I'm going to place it so that we do the one leaf that's facing out. Right where I want it. I think that'll work. And that's okay if it picks it up. I forgot to put my magnets down, so we'll put my magnets on for this time. Now for these, I am going to use Pear Pizzazz, and I'm also going to accent it. So I'm going to stamp it with Pear Pizzazz. And again, you're barely seeing it, but it's there. Let's move it over just a little bit. And oops, I bumped my camera. And a little bit of that, and just press. And then we'll take the magnets off. We'll move it a quarter turn. Put the magnets back on. And we'll ink. And I accent it in different places. It's not always in the same place. So it looks a little bit different each time. And then, just so you know, then I wanted to do some leaves facing to the inside of the circle. So I would clean up my stamp, and I'm just going to do it right here so you can see. And I'm going to put this where it is I think I want it. And I'm going to pick it up again. Get that back in place. The nice thing about the template is that even if it moves, all you got to do is put it back in place and it lines right back up again. That's what's wonderful about the Stamparatus. So then I went around and I did the same process doing the leaves on the inside. So you can kind of get a feel for it. And this is from the base card, you can see how it came out. Okay, and so once I got that all done, I decided to cut out the frame, the wreath, and I decided to cut out both the outside and the inside. And that was just fussy cutting, and it takes a little while. So it may not be a mass-produced card, but I really liked the look and I felt like it was worth the effort. So, you know, to each their own. So there's my wreath ready to go. Then I used the layering circle dies, and I used this circle from the set, and I cut out a white circle out of regular Whisper white cardstock, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment with Pretty Peacock, and I am just going to center it in there. That's my clock. Sorry for the interruption. People always go, "What's that? You've got a bird." No, it's just my clock, because I do love birds. It'll be done in a moment. And so I just stamped this with Pretty Peacock, and then this is going to go just like that to frame it. So we'll bring back our base card, and I attached this to the card front with snail or Tombow or whatever you want to call it. And because I am sticking to an embossed surface, I'm giving the back of this as much adhesive as I can, because it's only sticking to the raised portions and you want it to not fall off when you give your card away. So I put lots of adhesive on it. And I just kind of centered it there. And then this piece is going to go on with dimensionals. And I just put a dimensional of each one of those all the way around. Little trick when you're trying to peel these, if you press in the middle, it makes the edge pop up and it makes it much easier to peel. I think that's all of them, yeah. And then I just attached this over that circle. I pressed it into place. And there's my card all ready to go. Isn't that lovely? So a little bit more work to do, but it still came out to be a very lovely card, and I hope you enjoyed watching it made.